Welcome back to the Avenue, and you will be so glad that you showed up today, and thank you for coming. Again, we're in the holiday season, getting ready to go into the new year. Now, there are plenty of numbers associated with your money, but what we're going to discuss today are the most important ones that you should know. You would be surprised how most people may not know these numbers. I want you to know each number to the penny. So stay tuned.
She's a go-getter, alright. What a beautiful sight. Anything she sets her mind to, she stays on it day and night. She writes the checks, she signs the deeds. She plants the fruitful seeds and still finds the time to meet all her family needs.
Now, as I was saying, there's plenty of numbers out there, and some of these numbers are just noise unless you need it for a specific thing. Now, if you're going to go out and get credit, you'll need to know your credit score. There are certain numbers that you need for specific things. What I'm talking about are the numbers you need just in general that you need to know. Like if someone would wake you up at night and say, "What is this?" You should be able to pop it off without even thinking about it. The first number that I want you to know is your net income. Now, when you first took that job, no matter who you are or the job that you're currently on, if you've gotten raises, they gave you a number. There's a sheet of paper they give you, the employment sheet of paper that will tell you when you're starting and the hours, and this is the number, this is what we're going to pay you. That is not your net income because we know taxes, insurance, and everything else is going to be taken out of that. Your net income is actually what you're taking home each and every week, month, or however you get paid, what you're bringing home. What is the money that you have to work with when it comes to your budget and your household? That is your net income. You should know that number like the back of your hand. Even when I was working, I got paid every 2 weeks. And because, it may be a certain amount this week and a certain amount next week, or the following 2 weeks, it depended on what I had taken out of that first paycheck, what I had taken out of that second paycheck. But there were numbers that I needed to know, and they didn't fluctuate. Now, in the real estate business, our money fluctuates depending on the commission and how much the house is and that type of thing. So those numbers can fluctuate. But even in that, when I get a deal that and a transaction is going to happen and I get my disbursement authorization, I know to the bottom line how much Keller Williams is going to take out and how much I'm going to take with me when I leave the title company or the next day when they send me my check or deposit my check into the bank account. I know that number. So that is my net income. From that, I can work with that. I can take out taxes that I'm going to be paying as far as, federal taxes, income taxes, and any other type of taxes I may be paying, whatever expenses it costs me for that transaction, I can take that out. But I know that number. And so just like employers and employees and entrepreneurs need to know our numbers, you need to know your number as an employee. What is your take-home pay? What is your net income that you have to work with? You will be surprised how many people do not know their net income. They know, oh, there's a certain amount I get and I just live off of that. You need to know that number because if you're making $150,000 a year, you could still be broke. If your credit score was 800, you could still be living from paycheck to paycheck. There are certain things you need to know. The first one I want you to know, and if you don't know, go out and find out what it is. If you get paid monthly, if you get paid every 2 weeks, you could probably look at your statement of the money that's going into your bank account to see how much that is. You should know that number. So go find that number and know that number, net income. Now, the very next number I want you to know is your expenses. This is vitally important. What is it taking you to live on every month? You know those expenses. They would be fixed expenses. They may be variable expenses, but your mortgage, your transportation, whatever that is, if you have a cell phone, if you have utility bills, all of those that you pay every month, every month, every month. And then there are some things like insurance if you pay it every 6 months. You need to know all the expenses that you have coming in because if you know your income and you know your expenses, you can do things with that. You can work magic. So you will know, first of all, if you have enough money coming in to cover all those expenses. Secondly, you will know if you do have enough money coming in, the expenses are covered, and you have a gap of overage, you can do something with that money. And that's how we get into wealth building after that. But you need to know your expenses. And there are a lot of people, you all, the bills come in and, they'll get paid either when they come in or they'll get paid on a certain day when they get their check in. But actually sitting down and knowing and understanding your expenses. Now, I know what you're saying, because even for me, but I have a budget. That's one reason I have a budget, because some of the expenses change from month to month. Your electricity bill, your water and light bill, all of that is not, your gas bill, that's not going to be the same each and every month. It's going to change from month to month to month, depending on if it's summer here in Texas or if it's winter. Some bills go up, some bills go down, but I can track back over my budgets from past, how much it's adjusted up in various areas and how much it's adjusted down. So, but it's pretty close. It runs pretty close. Now this year, because everything has gone up, as far as inflation is concerned, I may need to raise it up a little bit more for the winter time, and then next year raise it up a little bit more. But I have a ballpark figure on that. And when the bills start coming in, I know, I'm not surprised. Hey, I got a $200 utility bill, or I have a $250 utility bill. It's not surprising because I know about how much it should cost me, right? And if you have any debt that you're paying off, you should have those monthly payments slotted for that debt also. So you should know these things about yourself, because it will be very helpful to know this for your financial health, your financial future. You just need to know certain things about your money, because you don't want somebody else to know more about your money than you do. What if Ladies' Night wasn't just fun, but it left you feeling financially empowered? Introducing my financial therapy card deck, a simple, engaging way to spark real conversation about money, mindset, and your financial future. Perfect for girls' night in, social clubs, retreats, and women's events. Wherever women gather, meaningful conversations follow. So gather your girlfriends and discover what money conversations can really do for your future. Empower your money, empower your life. I have the questions you need to answer. Order your deck today and make your next ladies' night unforgettable.
Now they look at her like, and they all want to know why she just keeps winning.
Okay, this is not a dirty word, but you also need to know your debt. So, and some of us have, such as, these are things, not monthly bills, but these are things that you purchase that you owe for, that you're paying on, such as cars. You need to know how much you owe on those cars still. You need to know how much you owe on your house still. And anything else, if you have student loans, if you have any other kind of loans, you need to know credit cards, you guys. That's the big one. Some people don't want to look at their statement. I know some people, they don't even open their statement, because they know that they're going to pay that minimum $40, $50, $60, $250 every month. And so they don't need to see what the statement says. But you need to know that. You need to know that number, because it's your number. You need to own it. If you see how large it is, maybe you'll start focusing on getting it paid off. But all these numbers you need to know. So the more debt you have, the more numbers that you need to have written down that you know. And even I'm tracking my mortgage. It's a mortgage, so it's six figures. But I'm tracking it, and as I'm paying it down, I can see progress. It gets me stirred up. I see progress. I want to put a little bit more on it. I see progress. So I'm tracking these numbers every month. I don't have a car payment. I don't need to track that. My mortgages, those are the only things that I need to really track and focus on getting those paid down. Now I do, because I pay my credit card off every month. I don't do the minimum payment thing, you guys. That's a dangerous thing to do. But the credit card companies have you if you're doing the minimum payment. And that's another topic for another day. But anyway, I pay my credit card off every month. So I know the debt that I'm in pretty much every day. I'll go out and check it to see, okay, where am I? Because I know if I get to a certain level, I'm not charging anything else, because I don't want to write a check larger than that. Now, if I buy something and it's going to come out of one of my other accounts to pay for, one of my business accounts, that's different. I'm buying it for a certain purpose, and that money is going to be paid off pretty much that day or the next day on my credit card. But this debt, you all, credit card debt, number one, I don't care how many credit cards you have, you need to know how much you have charged on all those credit cards. If it's a store card, Dillard's or whatever store you shop at, Home Depot, Lowe's, if it's a store card that carries debt from month to month that you are making payments on, you need to know how much you have on that, because this way you will know how much debt that you're in. If something were to happen to you, you know how much that you owe, or your family would know how much you owe other people out there. So know your debt. It's different than just expenses. Expenses are things, they could be bills that come in every month that you don't necessarily owe on until that month comes around. But debt is also included in expenses because you're paying this debt off on a monthly basis. But know your numbers, know your debt, and we're going somewhere with this, so you'll know why in the next couple of steps. One thing that I hope you really know how to do is to hit that like button and that subscribe button so that you can stay up to date on all the information that I'm giving you. Hopefully I'm dropping gems. I like to say I'm dropping dimes. I learned that from looking at football, and it's when the quarterback pretty much puts the ball in the receiver's hand over the opponent. So I'm dropping it to you in your hand. All you got to do is catch it. That's all you have to do. So I'm dropping dimes. Thank you for showing up, and catch these dimes that I'm dropping. Moving right along, if you know those last three that we talked about, this is going to be easy for you. You will need to know your cash flow. Now, if you're in a business, if you own a business, you know how important cash flow is, because your business keeps running, that engine keeps running if there's a cash flow. If there's a deficit, there's going to be a breakdown, something's going to have to stop. Something may have to be, you may have to borrow money to get that cash flow rolling again. If you are a landlord, you know what cash flow is. You're having more money come in than you have go out, and so there's some cash that's flowing into a different spot. You need to know for your household the cash flow. So if you know your net income, how much you have coming in, and you know your expenses, how much you have going out, you have the equation for your cash flow. You'll know how much you have left over, which could be your savings rate, which could be your investment rate, which could be that extra money that you can do other things with. So, and that's what we want to keep an eye on. We just don't want to work to pay bills, just work every day, and all I can do is come home and pay bills. I can't enjoy, can't do anything else. Maybe go out to eat every now and then, charge up a bunch of credit cards, and I'm back to paying bills again. What we want to do is get that cash flow coming in to the point where we can actually use it to put in investments or put in savings. So when that trip does come around, when something does come around that I really want, I can pay for it cash and won't create another debt on me that I have to pay off each month with the money that I'm earning. So your cash flow is vitally important for you to know, because if the cash flow, and for if you're buying property, you want to know your cash flow before you buy that rental property, because if the numbers don't work, I don't buy the property. If the cash is not going to be flowing in the future or close to flowing in the future, or if I can see at some point we're going to break even and this cash flow is going to start coming in, I don't buy the property. Nowadays, if it's not cash flowing, I just don't buy it. Whether it's me putting down more on it than more on it than 20% in order to get it to cash flow, I'll do stuff like that. If it's in a good area, it's going to appreciate. If it makes sense, I will make the sacrifice to invest in that so that I could have a larger amount on the other end. But I need to know cash flow before I put any money down on any investment property. And I would ask you to know your cash flow, at least for your household. That way you'll know what condition your household is in and what you can do to help yourself build wealth. Now, this last one, I really want you to know, and this is the one most people miss, but your net worth. How much are you worth? Not your self-worth, but your net worth financially. And you get this from some of the figures that we've already discussed. You get this from how much debt you're in and how much money that you have as far as assets. So assets minus liabilities equals your net worth. It could be negative, it could be positive. You want it positive, right? So if you have $100,000 in assets, however, you have $50,000 in liabilities, your net worth is $50,000. And that's the way you figure that out. And that way, if you have a focus on, well, you know what, I want my net worth to grow to $100,000, you know you can focus on either building assets or paying down those liabilities to get that net worth to the number that you want it to be at. It's a great number to know. A lot of people don't know this number. A lot of people don't want to know this number. I love knowing this number. As a matter of fact, I watch the number grow from year to year to year, because if I'm not growing the number, I'm not progressing in the direction that I want to go. If I need to buy some more assets, stock, whatever it is, houses, whatever it is, if the time is right and I can gain more on buying assets, that's what I'm going to do. In the meantime, I'm also paying down liabilities for anything that I may owe on these houses, right? So that works in conjunction. So your net worth can go up by either investing in assets or decreasing liabilities or doing both. It's a beautiful thing. So what you want to focus on, because that way you know that you're progressing. If you don't have a goal to shoot for, if you're just buying things and just living day to day and it's comfortable, you don't know what your net worth is. I would say find out what your net worth is, because when it comes time to retire, that net worth is going to become very, very important to you, because that's the money that you're going to have that you can pull from to live off of. So know your net worth. This is a critical number that a lot of people miss, but it's a big number. And I have a couple of bonuses for you. Another thing that you want to know, and this is a bonus one, those are the 5 most critical ones. But your credit score is one other thing that you may want to know. And this is because if you want to go and purchase something, they're going to need to know your credit score. And if you have a low credit score, you may still be able to purchase that car or that house, but you may be paying a higher interest rate. So credit score is important for proving to someone else that you pay your bills on time and you're a good steward over paying your bills. And so they will be willing to loan you something, put you into debt, so to speak, because you have a better credit score. Now that credit score works to your advantage, because the higher it is, you can get a lower interest rate on whatever it is that you're going to purchase. So just keep that in mind. The credit score is one of those things that you want to know. And the other thing that you want to know is the number of your emergency fund. How much do you need in your emergency fund? We talked about that all the time, about having an emergency fund, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or a year, depending on your situation in your household and your job security or insecurity. You need to know how much money you need in your emergency fund, and whatever that is, check it at the end of the year, check it in 6 months to see, with this inflation going up, do I still have enough in there? And if I have enough in there, you don't have to put any more in there. But if you don't have enough in there, put some more in there. These job situations that we're in, this is not the first time it's happened, but those who had a fully funded emergency fund probably slept a lot better and are sleeping a lot better than the ones who did not have that, because this can come into handy once you have the money where it needs to be in your emergency fund. So those are just 2 extra things that you can know, but the first 5, make sure you know for sure, okay? So if you have any questions about any of these numbers, hit me up in the comments below, and I'll make sure I'll do my best to answer those, right? Okay, and with that, that's the show. I will see you in the next video.